I guess things were in the works for me to be a debutante, whether I knew it or not. All I knew is suddenly I was told I was going to be a debutante, and I was going to be borrowing my aunt's wedding dress to wear for that particular day. And I remember my grandfather being so delighted that I was going to be wearing his daughter's wedding dress, and he said, I got my money's worth. And so suddenly I was going to be one. It was the year 1988. I mean, who did I go to the debutante ball with? That came about by being asked to go by Lloyd Hall, and it happened because he'd asked me to go to prom, and I said no. At the time, he and I were kind of going through some stuff where we were kind of hemming and hawing, dealing with what we were feeling for each other emotionally, and not necessarily willing to give into it. But I think once he got word that I was going to prom with someone else, that got the best of him. He was like, "Oh, Crystal, please don't go to the prom with someone else. Please take me." As far as I was concerned, now that I'd already said yes to someone, I wasn't going to go with him. So he kept pleading, "Please, please, please, let me go with you." And I was like, "No, it's a done deal. I'm not going with you." So his mind just started, racing, and he started thinking, okay, well, what can I want to make sure she's not going out with somebody else. The next event in my life was going to be the debutante ball, and he knew me very well, and he knew very much what was going on in my life, so he immediately said, let me take you to the debutante ball. I'm taking you. Actually, more declared it, I'm taking you to the debutante ball. And I said fine, and because I hadn't already lined up in Escort, and so that's how it was settled that he was going to be escort for the ball. Lloyd actually knew more about the debutante ball and the debutante culture than I did. I grew up in New York, and I wasn't really around all of this kind of stuff. Lloyd's particular branch of family, his mother had been a debutante, his father was his mother's escort, his aunts were all debutantes, so it was very much something that he was abreast of growing up, seeing pictures of various people in his family being a part of this particular culture in this event. And me, on the other hand, I had not seen any of it. And so I was totally going in blindly, not really understanding much of what I was doing, much of what I was involved in, anything in relationship to the culture. However, I mean, we went to practices. We knew we were supposed to do the waltz. Unfortunately, however, that year that we participated, they did not enact putting the waltz in place, so that wasn't too fun. Often after our rehearsals on Saturdays, we would practice. I remember practicing almost all the time at his grandmother's house, doing that. And when the day finally happened, for me, it was a mixture of things. My parents were going through a lot of problems at the time, and there was constant fights, and this day was no different. My mother was bickering with my father about having purchased a tuxedo, and my dad was defending himself about why he should have a tuxedo, own it instead of rent it, and that's a whole nother story in itself. And I just remember that by the time Lloyd and I got together, and that became like the happiest point of the day, because he looked beautiful, and I just mean the word beautiful, and he thought I looked beautiful, and he just could not wait to pull out of the driveway and just enjoy each other honestly. And I remember because I was wearing a wedding dress and he was wearing a New Hampshire 5 Tux, that as we were going down the street in his father's large white Oldsmobile, that people thought we got married. So constantly people were honking and saying congratulations, and you know, he and I were so love struck at the time that, you know, every traffic light we would kiss. You know, gentle kiss, not enough to ruin my lipstick. And then finally we arrived at the place and participated in all of the pageantry of what it is to do the debutante experience. And it usually involves, you know, you practice doing a curtsy, you're balancing, holding flowers in your arm and curtsying. Your father walks you down the aisle, escorts you down the aisle. Your fancy French word for what the guy is, he brings you back down the aisle after you finish being presented to society. Really, the origins of being a debutante means that you're ready to marry, you're ready to be presented to society. And that's what the old school perspective of what a debut has to be. This is your debut. And I will say that the debutante experience for me was wonderful. It was a 2-day event. They don't, at least the organization that I was a part of, they no longer do it over a 2-day span. For me, they did the presentation on one day, and the next day was the ball. And in my debutante story, each day is definitely a different story with different kinds of drama that were going on. But I hope you enjoyed my debutante story. Check out the next.